And when you think about this a bit more broadly, obviously we're having this conversation surrounding the energy markets and whether or not we could potentially see oil contracts denominated in something other than US dollars. We also discussed early in the Ukraine conflict with Olaf Scholz, actually, the prospect of gas transactions being done in Russian rubles. He pushed back on that, obviously. But we've moved on since that time. How quickly do you think that we're going to see energy contracts denominated in something like lira, in something like dirhams, as the Indians and the Turks have suggested?
I think that we're going to see a lot of contracts with Russian oil denominated in ruble and currency of the Russian counterparts. Since bulk of Russian oil exports will be going to China, I think that we're going to see a rise in trade in RMB, and petro yuan is the new in. But that's going to be a certain balkanization of trade in the global oil markets. We're going to see a lot of consistency with using US dollar as the major currency to settle energy contracts, euros for the European market, and more other currencies where Russian oil is involved.
And as we look at this dollar substitution, it's also fascinating to see the other spheres of influence coming into the Middle East region. Of course, we are seeing increasing Chinese influence and integration across the Gulf states, Iran and Turkey on a range of fronts. This is economically, financially, militarily as well. It's been called, Alexander, the post-America Middle East. Do you subscribe to that view? And what do you think all of this means ultimately for the future of US engagement in the region?
I think that it's too early to call it post-America. The US is still the predominant power in the global system, and it's a very important player in the Middle East with all of the military asset, the pivotal role of the US in the global financial system, and the US having a very robust network of partners and Israel as its ally. But the space is much more crowded, and I think that the regional players are looking elsewhere and trying to build a robust network of partnerships. So it's not only the US, but also other players, and Russia definitely comes in the mix, as well as China.
And just before I let you go, I also wanted to ask you about prospects for an Iranian nuclear deal. Where does the conversation go from here, in your view, given just how stalled this is and the limited progress that we saw during President Biden's visit to the region?
I don't think that the deal is materializing anytime soon. President Putin was supportive of the deal and said that Russia is ready to do anything possible to make this happen. But at the same time, he said that one of the Russian preconditions is that engagement with Iran will be not limited by any type of sanctions introduced to Russia over its brutal aggression against Ukraine. And that's definitely a non-starter for the West. So there is just one more obstacle being added by Russia, and it's by design. I don't think that Russia is really interested in Iranian nuclear deal. And the less the chance that Iranian oil flows to the global market, substituting Russian oil, the better for Moscow.